Welcome to the White Rabbit YouTube channel. In today's episode, we're looking at a metallic sphere that was absolutely not built, made, or constructed on planet Earth. Introducing the Betz Sphere. This sphere, found on Fort George Island, Florida, has been called many things by many people, including an alien listening device, a Foo Fighter, and even an atomic weapon. Let's get into it. The Betz family were pretty well off, living on 88 acres of land in a mansion they referred to as the castle. One day, they noticed a small bushfire near the house and went to investigate. After putting out the fire, they noticed a shiny ball in the field. Thinking it was a cannonball, they brought it home. Once at home, they took a better look at the ball and noticed that there was a 3 millimeter triangle stamped into it. It also had no seams, but they just put it up on the mantle with other oddities and mementos and didn't think much about it. A few days later, the eldest son was playing the guitar in the living room when he started hearing a humming sound. He stopped playing to find out where it was coming from, but the sound also stopped. Then he started playing the guitar again, and he started hearing the humming sound again. And so he was just walking around the room playing the guitar to determine where the sound was coming from, and it was coming from the ball. So he picked up the ball and set it on the ground and continued playing the guitar, and it continued the humming sound. Then he crossed the room, and surprisingly, the ball or sphere followed him. Still in shock, he picked up the ball and set it on a table with a glass top and gave it a shove, thinking it would go over the side, but the ball just rolled around the edge of the table. He lifted up the table and the ball climbed the incline. He decided to do a few experiments, first by hitting it with a hammer and it would reverberate for a long time. Then he shook it vigorously and set it on the ground. He said it was like a giant Mexican jumping bean trying to get away from him. When set into the direct sunlight, it would have vibrations coming from the ball and would stay warm for up to 3 days. For a few days, they just let the ball wander around the floor of the house and it would follow its occupants around. Then they noticed that the longer it rolled around, the stronger its magnetic field became, and it would start picking up small metallic objects. After the novelty wore off, they stored it in a trunk and only took it out to show visiting friends and family. One of these visiting friends convinced the Betz family to contact the Jacksonville Journal. Big mistake. A photographer was sent to investigate, and it quickly became international news, bringing a lot of unwanted attention and constant phone calls. And of course, not soon after, the US government came knocking on their door. At first, they refused to hand it over, but in the end, the government always gets what they want. The Betz family insisted on signing a contract stating that if it was found not to be US government property, it was to be returned. And with all the international attention, they had little choice but to do so for now. Now that the government has checked it out, we have a little bit more information about it. It was found to be 7.96 inches in diameter or 20.21 centimeters, and the weight is 21.34 pounds or 9.67 kilograms. The shell is a magnetic steel alloy grade 431. It can withstand extreme heat and high pressure up to 120,000 pounds or 54,000 kg per square inch. The sphere had 4 magnetic poles, 2 positive and 2 negative. It was determined not to be the property of the US government and was returned to the Betz family as previously agreed upon for now. The Navy said it wasn't an explosive device, but that they didn't know what it was. The Betz family wanted to know more and asked scientists to help investigate it. Dr. Carl Williston from the Omega-1 Institute confirmed the Navy's findings. He found it was emitting radio waves and defied the laws of physics by moving on its own. X-rays showed the internal structure: half an inch outer shell, different layers of steel of different densities, reaching a hollow interior the size of an orange, with 3 smaller spheres inside, the size of big grapes with wires attached. Dr. James Harder confirmed Dr. Williston's findings. He said the internal spheres, the ones the size of big grapes, were made of a material with an atomic number of 140, the highest ever recorded anywhere. In case you don't know, an atomic number is the number of protons that are in an element. If you look at the periodic table of elements, each element has a number on the bottom. That number is the atomic number. The highest atomic number that appears in nature is, of course, uranium. Scientists have managed to raise the number of protons, but only by using a nuclear reactor, and only managed to reach 118. Therefore, the element in the sphere is definitely not from Earth. Dr. Harder speculated that the sphere could be an alien probe or anti-gravity device. I talked more about these inventions in the free energy and suppressed technology episode. If you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. Then Dr. J. Allen Hynek, a professor and astronomer best known for being a UFO advisor to the US Air Force and Project Blue Book, which investigated UFOs officially from 1952 to 1969. Not someone you should put too much trust in. He's in too deep with the government. Dr. J. Allen Hynek confirmed the previous scientists' findings and not much else. Soon after, the Betzes were offered $750,000 for the sphere. That's $4 million in today's money. They refused. Just like Tom Ogle's $25 million offer, it only appears once. If not taken, bad things happen. Very bad things indeed. At least they didn't invent anything. The National Enquirer, although not very reputable, offered $50,000 to anyone that could prove they owned an object from a UFO. They put together a panel of experts in their fields: a former US Attorney General, a former Supreme Court Justice, Dr. Harder and Heinrich from earlier, and a few more. The sphere and the eldest son were sent to the panel. Not for the money. They figured with all these experts, they could get some answers. But with the atomic number of 140, how could they lose? But of course, The eldest son was led astray. He was supposed to stay with the sphere at all times, but he got a call that his mother was in an accident, so he flew back right away. And when he got there, she was, of course, fine. Then he had to fly back to the sphere, and the sphere was not fine. The Inquirer couldn't return it. It was gone, along with Dr. Hynek. It was in New Orleans with the Navy for further tests. He drives there. The sphere is being tested in a Navy facility, also being guarded by the Navy. He can't go in until the testing is finished. He gets it back, but it's broken. Not humming, vibrating, moving, nothing. Once back in Florida, the sphere gets x-rayed again. The 4 magnetic poles, the 3 grape-sized balls in the hollow are gone. And now there's a seam. It's an obvious fake. Just like Mel from Mel's Hole regretting ever going public, the Betz family felt the same. They moved away and never spoke of the sphere again. What do you think the Betz Sphere is or was? Let me know in the comment section. As always, I'm not saying this and every story I share is 100% true. I'm just telling a story and you can believe what you want. Uncovering the truth, one conspiracy at a time. See you next week on the White Rabbit YouTube channel.